Please adhere to YouTube's selected guidelines before viewing the content of this video. I do not encourage or condone any products, actions, or behaviors shown in this video. All videos are produced in a safe, professional, and controlled environment. Please do not attempt to replicate any actions performed during the video. All actions are performed by professionals.
Alrighty, so today I'm going to be making a video titled 2 cigarettes, 1 filter, which I will admit I am quite excited to do. But what exactly do I mean by 2 cigarettes, 1 filter? Well, simply put, what I'm going to be doing today is smoking a cigarette with the filter that's already on the cigarette. Then after I'm done with that cigarette, I am then going to roll the filter from that cigarette into another cigarette. And then after that, I am going to smoke that cigarette as well. Hence the title, 2 cigarettes, 1 filter, as I'm going to be smoking 2 cigarettes with 1 filter. And I'm sure some of y'all are wondering if the title of this video is a reference to that one video that you should not watch. And yes, the title of this video is a reference to that one video you should not watch. And as a whole, I certainly am quite excited for this experience, I will admit. I am thinking that it's going to be a little bit more of an interesting experience than not. I also find the title of this video to be quite funny, along with the fact that I think that the second cigarette I'm going to be smoking in today's video is going to be extraordinarily unhealthy. All of those factors make me quite excited for this video, that is for sure. And I'm certainly expecting the taste of the second cigarette to be very interesting, as I'm thinking kind of the taste from the first cigarette is going to combine with the taste from the second cigarette. I'm definitely thinking it's going to be a lot more interesting than not. And I'm also just looking forward to seeing how a normal cigarette filter holds up to 2 cigarettes worth of tar. Will it hold up very well, or will it just disintegrate? I don't know, in all honesty, but I'm looking forward to finding out, that is for sure. But first off, I've just got to smoke the first cigarette. I've just got to smoke the first cigarette with the filter just already on it kind of thing. That's what I've got to do first off. And the cigarette that I'm going to be smoking that already has a filter on it is going to be one of my American Spirit full-bodied red cigarettes, which I am looking forward to smoking quite a bit, as these are some good smokes, let me just put it that way. After I am done smoking one of these cigarettes right here, I am then going to roll a cigarette with some Peter Stokkebye Amsterdam Shag, which is some pretty good rolling tobacco. I'm going to be using my raw rolling machine, some Elements, ultra-thin rice papers, and of course the filter from one of these cigarettes right here. But first off, as said, we gotta actually smoke one of these cigarettes right here, as I couldn't call this video, well, 2 cigarettes, 1 filter, if I didn't smoke a cigarette, use that filter, and then re-roll the filter into another cigarette and smoke that other cigarette, you know what I'm saying? So first off, I just gotta smoke just the normal first cigarette, I do suppose. So without further ado, let's go and get this pack of cigarettes all opened up. Let's go ahead and get one of these cigarettes all out. And now let's go ahead and get my lighter out of my pocket as well. And now that I have my lighter out of my pocket, let's go ahead and get this cigarette right here all lit up, smoke it, and then after that, let's go ahead and get to rolling the second cigarette with this cigarette filter right here and see how that second cigarette actually is. Yes, sir, you know what I'm saying? Let's go ahead and get this all lit up. The American Spirit full-bodied reds, though, they're very enjoyable smokes, I ain't gonna lie. I've really been enjoying them over the last, I'd have to say, couple weeks or so kind of thing. They've become one of my, go-to cigarettes, surprisingly. Honestly, I never expected them to become a go-to cigarette of mine, but here I am. I've got, 5 or 6 empty packs just sitting in a drawer at home kind of thing, and those are all just from, the last month and a half kind of thing. They are some good cigarettes, let me just put it that way. And they are also a little bit more tarry than not, and so I definitely think I'm going to get the full amount of tar I want in this cigarette filter with the first smoke, and then I'm just going to get even more tar from the Peter Stokkebye Amsterdam Shag, because the Peter Stokkebye Amsterdam Shag is a little bit more tarry than not stuff as well, I will admit, as it is quite strong, if I do say so myself. I am a little bit afraid, though, in today's video that I might get a little bit too buzzed, because everything I'm smoking in today's video is really strong stuff. I'm smoking an American Spirit full-bodied red, which is, if you just have one, you're perfectly fine kind of thing. But if you smoke two of them, well, it's really, really, really strong. These are these are much more strong cigarettes than not, let me just put it that way kind of thing. And the Peter Stokkebye Amsterdam Shag is definitely much more strong rolling tobacco than not as well. So I'm definitely expecting to get quite buzzed in today's video, which of course I'm looking forward to. But I hope that I don't get too buzzed, because getting too buzzed, well, sometimes it's not the most pleasant. And I definitely got to make sure I don't get nicotine sick in today's video, that is for sure. I think I'm going to go and try to grab myself a little bit of a screenshot real quick. That should do, that should do. But we can see the filter, it's getting a decent amount of tar in it kind of thing, getting a decent amount of tar in it. Definitely not like the most tar. This cigarette does have a line of perforation on the filter, of course, but it's getting a decent amount of tar in the filter nonetheless. And I'm thinking, of course, it's going to get even more tar in the filter as we get lower on into the cigarette and everything like that kind of thing. But man, oh man, I am really looking forward to seeing how a filter is going to react to being used twice. I'm kind of getting deja vu right now. I don't know why. I kind of feel like I've done this before. I don't think I've done this before, but I'm kind of getting deja vu, feeling like I've done this before for some reason, in all honesty. But nonetheless, I am very excited to see how this goes. Now, I'm looking forward to seeing how a cigarette filter handles 2 cigarettes worth of tar. Is it going to handle it very well? I don't know, in all honesty, and I'm thinking it's probably not going to handle it very well. I'm thinking the cigarette filter is probably going to get really mushy, if I had to guess, and I'm thinking it's going to get really dark. I don't think the tar is going to, like, clog up the filter by any means or anything like that, but I'm definitely thinking that the filter is going to get very, very, very mushy, to say the least, and I'm not thinking that the second smoke of this video is going to be the greatest. I'm not thinking it is going to be the greatest, but I'm not thinking it's going to be bad by any means, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the flavor changes between this cigarette right here and, well, the second cigarette. The American Spirit Full-Bodied Reds, from what I can tell at least, are very much a Virginia Burley blend of tobacco. I'm sure there's something else in there, but to me at least, they very much come off like a Virginia Burley blend of tobacco. The Peter Stokkebye Amsterdam Shag is a Virginia Burley and Kentucky Dark Fired blend of tobacco. So 2 similar aspects, but 1 very different aspect. And I'm looking forward to seeing how that Kentucky Dark Fired shows through the, well, cigarette filter that I've already been smoking some Virginia Burley tobacco out of kind of thing. And I'm looking forward to seeing if the taste of the Peter Stokkebye Amsterdam Shag is just different than it normally is in general, or is it going to be exactly the same? No, I'm honestly thinking that the cigarette filter is probably going to affect the taste of the cigarette a decent amount, just because I've already smoked a decent amount of, well, tobacco through it kind of thing. I've already got a decent amount of tar in it, so I'm thinking that tar is going to affect the taste of the second cigarette, but I don't know anything for sure. I'm looking forward to finding out, though. Just taking this slow, though. I want to make sure I don't get too buzzed or anything like that kind of thing. Got to be careful. I am expecting to get quite buzzed in today's video. I mean, like I said, or a little bit earlier on in the video, this is 1 really strong cigarette kind of thing. Not super strong if I just smoke one of them, but strong nonetheless. And then the Peter Stokkebye Amsterdam Shag is pretty strong stuff as well. So I'm definitely expecting to get a little bit buzzed in today's video, but hopefully not too buzzed. And to ensure I don't get too buzzed, I am smoking a little bit slower than I might normally smoke, I will admit. But man, oh man, this cigarette is scrumptious though, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. Getting a really nice sort of sweet, fruity taste with a little bit of a sort of like nuttiness in there as well kind of thing. Really, really, really nice Virginia Burley blend of tobacco taste. Really, really, really nice taste overall kind of thing. I certainly do have no complaints on my behalf, that is for sure. It is a very, 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 very enjoyable cigarette smoke, I will admit. It's a nice day out here today, though. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I'm getting a little bit buzzed now. I am actually getting a little bit buzzed now. It's a nice day out here today, though. I will admit. It's a little bit cloudy, a little bit sunny kind of thing. Sunny with a little bit of clouds. I do suppose probably the right way of putting it. It's a little bit chilly out here, but it's not like too chilly by any means. It's about perfect smoking weather, I'd have to say. It's not like too hot, nor is it too chilly kind of thing. It's very comfortable out here right now, especially with the layers I have on today. I've got some thermals on, I've got some pants on, I've got a hoodie on over a long sleeve shirt, and a little bit of a fleece jacket over that kind of thing. I'm feeling very good right now, especially since I'm sitting in the sun. If I was sitting in the shade, it might be a little bit too chilly, but since I'm sitting in the sun, I am all good, you know what I'm saying? Certainly no complaints on my behalf. We can see, though, the filter is getting quite tarry, and it's getting a little bit mushy as well. Definitely getting a little bit mushy. I am going to give myself a minute, though. I'm actually getting quite buzzed, I ain't gonna lie. This is my second cigarette of the day, and I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of a sip of water real quick. Excuse me. Much better, much better. Water always helps. Water always helps. And I gotta make sure as well, before I get the second cigarette all lit up, I gotta make sure I take another sip of water, because I gotta make sure I have a palate refresher. So I make sure the taste of the tobacco that's already in my mouth isn't affecting the taste of the tobacco that I'm gonna be smoking in the second cigarette. Gotta make sure I do my best to properly analyze the taste from the second cigarette, that is for sure. And having a palate refresher is a good way to start off the analyzation. I'm sitting at a park right now, and I'm just looking at the parking lot, and I'm seeing there's a Corolla like parked all the way to the end of the parking lot. It's got like some hubcaps on from like what looks like Walmart or something like that kind of thing. I don't know what it is though. Those hubcaps look so good. They look so good. And that Corolla as a whole, it's a very unique color. Like, I don't see that color of Corolla very often. It's like a sort of like, I'd have to say like bronzish, like reddish brown or something like that kind of thing. It's very interesting. And with that color, with those hubcaps, oh man, I'm a huge fan of like just lowered cars on Steelies. I think they look so good. And I think that Corolla would look fantastic if it was lowered on some Steelies with those hubcaps kind of thing, especially with that color. Man, it just looks so good. I ain't gonna lie, it looks so good. Man, oh man. I love lowered like economy cars. Oh, they're so nice. I'm not usually one for hubcaps, but sometimes hubcaps hit different. I ain't gonna lie, sometimes they do. Especially if they're like dog dishes kind of thing, like dog dishes on like old pickup trucks. Oof, they look good. They look good. And sometimes hubcaps on economy cars hit different as well. Well, I'm almost done with this cigarette though. I think we've got one or two more hits left, and then after that, I'm gonna go ahead and stub the cigarette out. I'm gonna go ahead and get the filter all properly out and everything like that kind of thing. I think that was the last hit that I want to take. I want to make sure I don't singe the filter or anything like that kind of thing. If I singe the filter, it's probably going to affect the taste of the second cigarette just too much. There is a little bit more tobacco in here, but ain't no biggie, you know what I'm saying? Ain't no biggie at all. I'm just going to go and get the rest of that tobacco all out. And now I'm just going to go ahead and rip that paper all off, just like I have just done. And there we go. We can see the filter is very tarry on this side and a little bit less tarry on this side. I'm going to go and put that paper down on the table I'm sitting at. I'm actually going to put it in my pocket of my backpack. Got to make sure I'm not littering or nothing like that. And now I'm going to go ahead and start rolling my second cigarette. I do think that first cigarette, though, it got me a little bit more buzzed than not. I ain't going to lie. It definitely got me a little bit more buzzed than not. But I've got my raw rolling machine that's going to be helping me roll today. And I've also got my Elements Ultra Thin Rice Papers. I'm going to go ahead and get my mason jar of Peter Stockby Amsterdam Shag all opened up. Just smell it real quick. Whoopsies. Smell it real quick, and it smells so good. Getting a really nice sort of fruity, nutty, slightly sort of like campfire-y smell from it kind of thing. Smells absolutely fantastic, that is for sure. I'm going to go ahead and put the cigarette filter in my rolling machine, and now I'm just going to grab a pinch of my Amsterdam Shag rolling tobacco, and I'm just going to go and put that in my rolling machine as well. Grab another pinch. I know y'all can't see what I'm doing right now. I can't figure out a good way to position my camera so y'all can see what I'm doing, but that is what it is kind of thing. Y'all know what I'm doing, you know what I'm saying? Grab another pinch. I don't need like a super big pinch though, but all the pinches I'm grabbing are super big. So I'm just gonna kind of do that. There we go. Shoved a lot of tobacco in there, but I gotta make sure I get a good smoking experience after all. Go and put some of the tobacco that fell out of the jar back in the jar, and now I'm gonna go ahead and just start rolling it just like this kind of thing. There we go. Haven't put the paper in quite yet. And I'm gonna go and make sure that's just all good, and that's looking all good to me. I'm just gonna go and tap it down just a little bit. And now I'm gonna go ahead and grab one of my Elements ultra thin rice papers out of my pack of rolling papers I have. That first cigarette got me pretty buzzed though, I ain't gonna lie, I'm feeling quite buzzed right now, that is for sure. That was my second cigarette of the day, and generally with my second cigarette of the day, I do be feeling a little bit buzzed. And there we go, got the paper all in. Let's go and just wheel it down just a little bit more, and now I'm gonna go and lick it. Just like that, and I'm gonna go ahead and just roll it now. Hopefully it's, oh no, okay, well, it just came out, but it looks like it's rolled pretty much perfectly. I certainly cannot complain. I'm gonna go ahead and grab some of the tobacco that's at the end. I'm just gonna pinch it and grab that tobacco that's in the end and just put that back in my mason jar of Peter Stockby Amsterdam Shag. I'm gonna go put this down on the table now. Go just make sure I got all the tobacco out of the rolling machine. And I'm gonna go and put all the tobacco that's on my Otagiri rolling tray I got right here back in my mason jar, just like that. And cap back on. And now I'm gonna go and give myself a minute because I'm feeling quite buzzed. I'm feeling quite buzzed, y'all. So the cigarette, it's all rolled up now. I'm all ready to get to smoking, all ready to actually achieve the goal of this video, which is to smoke 2 cigarettes with 1 filter. Let's go ahead, take a sip of water. Excuse me. Whew. I am still feeling quite buzzed. Glad I had that little bit of a palate refresher. I'm a little bit nervous for this, in all honesty. I'm expecting this to get me really buzzed. But I'm not expecting it to be a bad experience at all. The filter, as we can see, has a decent amount of tar in it, but not like too much by any means. I'm thinking this is gonna smoke much better than not, and I'm thinking this is gonna be a much better experience than not as a whole. But I am still a little bit more nervous for this experience than not. Well, I do suppose I should probably just go ahead and commit to this experience now, shouldn't I? So without further ado, let's go ahead, get my lighter out of my pocket once again. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get this cigarette that I rolled with a filter that's already been used, all lit up, so I can actually go ahead and achieve the goal of this video, which is to smoke 2 cigarettes with 1 filter. Without further ado, y'all, let's go ahead and get this cigarette all lit up. Yes, sir, you know what I'm saying? And right off the bat, I'd have to say the filter is definitely having an effect on the taste. Now, I'm thinking as I continue smoking this cigarette, the filter is going to have less and less and less of an effect on the taste of the Peter Stockby Amsterdam Shag, just simply because the tar from the Peter Stockby Amsterdam Shag is going to start overwhelming the tar from the American Spirit Full-Bodied Reds. But at first, the fruit-like taste from this cigarette is much more intense than I would normally get from Peter Stockby Amsterdam Shag. So I can definitely say right off the bat, the taste of the cigarette has been affected. Yeah, very, very, very much affected. However, still a decent amount of the taste from the Amsterdam Shag is coming through. I'm definitely getting, I'd have to say the taste I'm getting right now is very much a extremely fruity. I'm getting a really, really, really fruity, very nutty taste right off the bat, with the tiniest amount of smokiness in there from the Dark Fired Kentucky, but not too much by any means. Yeah, I definitely have to say that's what the taste is very much like off the bat. And I'd have to say the fruitiness of this cigarette is probably coming from the tar that's already in the filter. The fruitiness from the Amsterdam Shag is not nearly as intense normally as it is right now, although there is still fruitiness in there, so I'm sure that's helping. But the fruitiness of the sort of fruity taste from the cigarette I'm smoking right now, I feel like is mainly coming from the tar that is already in the cigarette filter. And the nuttiness, I feel like, is coming from the Amsterdam Shag. Well, this certainly is quite interesting, that is for sure. Yes, I can definitely say, without a doubt, that if you roll a cigarette with the filter of a cigarette that's already been used, that other cigarette definitely affects the taste of that second cigarette. 100%. 100%. The filter, though, is doing pretty well. It's still mushy, but it's not like too mushy by any means or anything like that kind of thing. It's doing pretty well as a whole, and it's making this entire experience pretty smooth. Just because I'm smoking a second cigarette with a filter that's already been used, it's certainly not making this experience any more rough or anything like that kind of thing. It's still a very nice, smooth experience for sure. And besides the taste, there really aren't too many major differences, in all honesty, besides the filter being mushy. Yeah, really the only differences between using a normal cigarette filter with a roll-your-own cigarette and using a used cigarette filter with a roll-your-own cigarette really are just the taste. Like, I'm definitely getting some sort of like a different taste with this cigarette filter, along with just a little bit of mushiness. That's really the only two differences, in all honesty. This is actually not a bad experience at all. Of course, though, since there's already tar in this cigarette filter, this cigarette is extra unhealthy. It is extraordinarily unhealthy, so certainly no complaints on my behalf, that is for sure. I assume the more tar that goes through a cigarette filter, the less tar is captured by that cigarette filter. I don't know if that's actually true or not, but that's just how it works in my head, I will admit. But I assume that's how it works, and, well, because of that, I can definitely say that this cigarette I'm smoking right now is extra unhealthy. Certainly no complaints on my behalf, that is for sure. I'm going to go and grab myself a little bit of a screenshot real quick, I do think. Well, hopefully that will do. We will see. But yeah, no. This cigarette, not bad at all. Not bad at all, if I do say so myself. It's a pretty good smoke, that is for sure. It is a pretty good smoke, I will admit. The taste of the Amsterdam Shag, definitely different, though. Excuse me, definitely different, though. I'm glad I had a little bit of a palate refresher, because if I didn't, I'd be thinking that the taste of the tobacco that was already in my mouth would be affecting the taste of this cigarette. But no, I can say the taste I've got right now is coming 100% from this cigarette. And I can say for sure that the filter is having an effect on the taste of the Peter Stokkebye Amsterdam Shag, 100%. A little bit of spiciness on that last hit. The taste of the Amsterdam Shag definitely coming through a little bit better than not now. It's definitely starting to overwhelm the taste of the full-bodied Red American Spirits just a little bit. But I just heard a rooster crow. That completely threw me off. That completely threw me off. I always forget people be having chickens in the city limits and stuff like that kind of thing. I always be forgetting that. I'm like, yeah, it's a big baller move, you know what I'm saying? Having chickens in the neighborhood, I mean, like, that's a big baller move kind of thing. But it always just throws me off whenever I hear chickens inside the city limits. It's so funny. But I can definitely say, yeah, the taste of the full-bodied reds is impacting the taste of the Amsterdam Shag, but the Amsterdam Shag is still shining through. The fruity taste from the Amsterdam Shag definitely still coming through. I'm able to taste a little bit of a different fruity taste from the full-bodied reds. And the nutty taste from the Amsterdam Shag is distinctly different than the nutty taste from the full-bodied reds as well. Although it is somewhat similar at the same time, but that's shining through as well, along with a little bit of spiciness, smokiness from the Amsterdam Shag as well. That is shining through as well. Yeah. Not a bad experience at all. Not a bad experience at all. As we are getting lower into this cigarette, though, I can definitely say that it is getting a little bit rougher, for sure, but I'm not sure if that's actually an effect of the filter already being used, or if that's an effect of just the tobacco itself getting closer to the filter. It's probably a combination of both, in all honesty. I figure as more tar gets into the cigarette filter, the cigarette gets a little bit rougher, and cigarettes naturally get a little bit rougher as you get towards the filter just because there's less area for the smoke to cool down. There's less area for the smoke to kind of just go through stuff to become a little bit lighter and stuff like that kind of thing. So I'd have to say it's probably a combination of both the filter already being used and the fact that I'm just smoking more of this cigarette. This is a very interesting experience, though. This is a very interesting experience. And I am definitely feeling quite buzzed right now. I am feeling extraordinarily buzzed. I'm feeling really good right now. Man, oh man. Wow. Yeah, the Amsterdam Shag, it's some heavy stuff. It's some good stuff, to say the least. And I am enjoying it. I am enjoying it, I will admit. Wow, though. This is not a bad experience at all. Not that I really expected it to be a bad experience. I didn't expect this to be a bad experience, but this is actually a surprisingly good experience. I wasn't expecting this experience to be bad per se, but I also wasn't really expecting to be as good as it is. This is a legitimate way to reuse cigarette filters. You can reuse a cigarette filter and it smokes just fine. Can you smoke 2 cigarettes with 1 filter? Yeah, you certainly can. You certainly can. Yeah. I am impressed. I am impressed. And that sort of spicy, smoky taste is definitely starting to come through a little bit better now, I definitely have to say. And as we can see, the filter is pretty much pure tar now. There is really nothing left kind of thing. There is nothing left of anything looking anywhere near just like a normal, unused white filter. It is pure tar now. Yeah, I definitely have to say this cigarette definitely is extraordinarily unhealthy, that is for sure. But I certainly can't complain because it's still a good smoke nonetheless, you know what I'm saying? Certainly no complaints on my behalf, that is for sure. Whew. I'm feeling buzzed though. And this cigarette as well. Definitely getting a little bit rough towards the end. And as we get towards the end, I'm definitely able to taste the Amsterdam Shag more and more and more and more. The Amsterdam Shag at this point in the smoke is definitely fully overwhelming the taste of the full-bodied red American Spirits that was already in the cigarette filter. It's very interesting. The taste of the tar that's already in the filter definitely has an effect on the taste of the second cigarette kind of thing, for sure. But it's not overwhelming. It's not overwhelming at all, but it's just different. It's just interesting, and it's actually something I don't mind one bit. It has just made this experience more interesting, yeah. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and take 1 or 2 more hits, and then after that, I think I'm going to take a sip of water, because I'm definitely needing a little bit of sip of water. I'm very buzzed right now, I ain't going to lie, y'all. And then after that, I'm going to go and let you guys know my final thoughts on this experience. Get my words just a little bit jumbled up. And let you guys know whether I do this again. Yeah. Got a little bit of a filter taste on that last hit. Thinking that is all there was to the cigarette. Let me go and just stuff that out on the ground. And let's take a look at the filter, and we can see the filter is pretty much completely black. There is really nothing left at all. And the other side of the filter is completely brown. There is nothing left at all of anything that looks like an unused cigarette filter. This is very, very, very used. I don't think I would want to use that filter again. I don't think I'd want to. It is just too tarry. But I can definitely say that if you want to reuse a filter from an already smoked prepackaged cigarette again, or hell, if you want to reuse a filter from a roll your own cigarette, I do think it's possible to do. I do think it's possible to do. And in all honesty, and good more just a little bit jumbled up. And in all honesty, if I was out of cigarette filters in an apocalyptic scenario or something like that kind of thing, and I really wanted a filtered smoke, would I do this again? Yeah, 100%. And honestly, even if this wasn't an apocalyptic scenario or something like that kind of thing, I'd probably still do this again. I mean, like, this is not a bad experience at all. If I was just out of filters and I just wanted a filtered cigarette and all I had was roll your own tobacco papers and a filter from an already smoked prepackaged cigarette, well, I think I'd do this again. Yeah, 100%. Not a bad experience at all. And actually a better experience than I thought it was going to be, and a very interesting experience at that. The taste of the American Spirit Full-Bodied Reds very much impacted the taste of the Amsterdam Shag. But not entirely. Not entirely. The taste of the Amsterdam Shag still shined through very well. Still shine through very well. Yeah, not a bad experience at all. Very interesting if I do say so myself. Would I do this again? Would I smoke 2 cigarettes with 1 filter again? I do think I would. I do think I would. Well, certainly no complaints on my behalf, that is for sure. I don't think I really have anything else to say, though, I will admit. I think that's just about all I had to say. And so, I do think without further ado, I'm probably going to end this video right here. I can't think of anything else to say. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Can't think of anything else. So, yeah. As a whole, not a bad experience at all. Not a bad experience at all. And an experience that I would not mind having again. This was not a bad experience at all, by any means. It's a pretty good experience. Well, I think that's all I had to say. Thank you so much for watching this video where I smoked 2 cigarettes with 1 filter. If you guys have enjoyed watching this video where I smoked 2 cigarettes with one filter, of course, please make sure to like and subscribe for more content. Also, check out my Instagram, my book, my merch, my P.O. Box, and my second channel, all in the description down below. And let me know in the comments down below if you guys have ever done this before. If you guys have, was it a good experience for y'all, or is this a one-time thing for me where this is never going to be a good experience again? Let me know in the comments down below. As said, like, subscribe. Till the next one, y'all, stay safe and peace. Have a great one. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know what I'm saying?